Yes, we are Archangel Raphael. Now, throughout this week and a little before, you have been receiving activations, you have been receiving codes, you have been receiving all sorts of things. Now, we would like to touch up your Earth suit. Yesterday, you received all sorts of intelligence activations from our brother Metatron. Now we would like to work on your Earth suit. Now we have done this before, and what we need you to understand is once you really, 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 shall we do another really for you? Once you know, believe, feel inside of you, just like you know your own name, just like you know the back of your hand, just like you think you know what things are in reality, once you know that you are infinite, that you are one with Source, that you are one with the divine, your earth suit becomes less important as time goes by. However, and once you get where you are completely 100% doubt free, your earth suit becomes very unimportant and you are able to see what you truly are. However, to get to that point, your earth suit needs to be healthy because that is where you are able to draw in your source. You have that high heart center. That is where your center, where that spark for source is, for infinite is. However, it's all inside of you, yet you have made it dormant. You have made it go to sleep when you were put in the suit. This is a small, tiny being, almost like a seed, if you will. Even though it's light, it is a seed, if you will. And seeds need to grow into saplings, and they go through stages. This is the same with you. So you may have a mighty sequoia growing through you if you have been practicing for quite some time. If you are of this knowing, you may have this gigantic sequoia, and so your earth suit becomes less relevant. It is important because you, to stay physically on this plane, you need this. However, the necessities of it become less. You need to worry less about what you eat. You need to worry about less about all sorts of things. However, when you are still believing that you need to eat, you need to sleep, you need to earn, you need to toil for your possessions, which are even less real when it comes down to it. If you think you need to toil and you need this, you need that for your happiness, your earth suit is very, very important at that part. If that is where you are, if things make you happy versus happiness is happiness, then your earth suit is super important. This is where we need to, because you have to be healthy in order to be able to grow and awaken that sourceness inside of you. And that is as close as we can come to ways you can understand this concept. And that is the thing, as many have said on this channel, that there are concepts that are going to sound like that are contradicting concepts. They are not truly being contradicted. We were using terms like you do with a small child. You might use certain terms. You might call, for instance, if you have a little son, you might refer to it as his little winky instead of using a term like penis. As you get older, you use different terms. As you mature, you use different terms. For instance, doctors will use Latin terms. And for instance, botanists will use the proper terms for plants. You may call something one thing, but it has a real proper name. So this is how things work. You will learn what you need to know. You are told things, they work this way. However, it is more complicated. And as you progress, then you learn the real rules of things. For instance, if you are, we will use her as an example. One of the things that she is a personal trainer. And when you first become a personal trainer, she has been doing this for well over 30 years. When you first become a personal trainer, you learn what is called cadaver anatomy. You learn that this muscle, like if you were to pull a muscle when you have a cadaver open and you were to pull on a certain muscle, that muscle does this. In actuality, you learn as you progress in years and you learn more advanced training, you start to know where the origins and the insertions are for these muscles. And you learn that there are other muscles that help with this. These are, that do this. So technically, that is not exactly what is happening. But your clients, when you are training them, only need to know so much, and you only need to know so much when you are doing stuff at first. Like, for instance, a lot of times when you first start working with a client, you might be working with things like weight machines. They're easier to use, there's less to worry about, less to go wrong. As long as it's set up appropriately, they get into the machine and they do stuff. They will not drop a weight on themselves like with a free weight. So, this is what is happening. You are being as you start to know, as you start to learn, you are getting to what truth is. You have training wheels on, you have water wings on, and as you grow and progress, you need less of these water wings and these training wheels. As we are speaking with you right now, your body is getting light codes, angelic codes, activations to your earth suit. You all have different challenges that you took on when you took on an earth suit. To just put it in terms that you can understand currently, you all decided to take on different things. You came here in different roles. This is, again, this has been explained to, for instance, with Mario Kart. You can choose a vehicle and you can choose your wheels and you can choose these different things because you might want better handling, you want it to be faster. This is the same thing with your body, as was explained by Metatron. Part of why you are here is to send back information. And we will use something from her childhood. She watched a show called Mork and Mindy, and Mork would report back to Orson about what he had experienced at the end of each episode. He would tell him, Earth people have this and they do this, and this is what this is. And that is what you are doing, except for it is more. You don't have to sit with Orson every night, if you will. It's direct feed because your technology has increased. So your fingertips, if you have all of your fingers, that information goes directly to source of how things feel. You all have different fingerprints. So you will actually feel things slightly different. That is why you have different fingerprints. That is why you have different lengths, and that's why you have different colors in your skin, the melanin. That is why you have different things that you like. You chose these things. Now you can choose again. You chose at a certain time. However, once you have reached a certain age of maturity, you do not need to keep going through this. You can choose to be someone who does no longer has that disability or illness or whatever it is. There is the choosing again, because again, as we are progressing, you can choose again. This is what the benefits of knowing that you are infinite being in an earth suit. You can choose. Again, you lizards can regrow tails. Starfish, sea stars can regrow rays that are lost. There are all sorts of animals on your planet that can pretty much regrow everything on their bodies. So, we would like you to know, as these activations, as these downloads, you can change your body so that it is easy and effortless. Not so much on the shallow, because you need to look and you need to, because we already know, if you have been listening, you know that happiness and fulfillment and peace and love come from within, especially because you are connected to source. So, as far as it goes, if you would like to feel less pain, if you would like to be more mobile, if you would like to have certain things because you want a different experience, that is wonderful. However, you also could just be coming to a point where your earth suit is a little less important to you. You need it to maintain, to teach, to help, to grow, to show people, because that is the other thing. It's not showing off, it is showing what is possible. Sometimes you can choose again to show what is possible. And again, we are not having you lay down right now to receive your healings, to receive your activations for your earth suit. We are letting the conscious intelligence of your earth suit right now ask for what we are raining down on you. You don't even need to pay attention to any part of your chakra system. It is coming down through you. Yesterday, Metatron opened that portal in your crown chakra and was raining things down inside of you. Right now, your earth suit is choosing this. So we don't need your conscious mind to be paying attention to that. It is doing what it needs. It is revitalizing cells. It is doing what is necessary. The words that you are hearing are working on a different part. It is telling you something. So you are receiving. And again, as stated earlier in many of the channelings lately, you always receive the minimum of Reiki and much, much more, because she has become a master of many different styles of Reiki. So when you hear this, you are always getting that, always, always, no matter which collective comes through. But we would like you to understand anything is possible. That is the one thing we would like you to understand. Now, again, as you advance and as you grow, the things that you might have asked for, the things that you might have wanted to change about you, you might realize that, again, you are an infinite being. So it is okay that it's different. It is like this. That, yes, you could have that if you wanted to. However, is that the best way to use your creative force? If it is, yes, there might be something that you do that you can get other people to be able to wake up to the fact that they can change. There have been people on your planet who have cured themselves of incurable diseases by many different forms, and they have been able to show other people the way. And then there are some people who have inspired people by letting their earth suits expire. There are people who have been being able to be an example by keeping their disabilities, by showing what the human spirit is, which is when your earth suit is aligned with your infinity, your divinity, your sourceness. So there are all different sorts of things. There are so many, just like you all have different fingerprints. Your earth suits all have many different things, and you worked on these different things. And again, you will find as you grow, as you understand the infinite, as it becomes apparent, as you understand what infinite really truly means, what it means to be one with source and one with all, your thoughts of what you want to change. Now, we will reiterate what you have been told, that we would like you to tell yourself every day, I am infinite. So that is the starting point. So when you walk around, when stuff comes up, when things hurt, when whatever the case may be, when things feel like you're less than infinite, when you are going to make a choice, if you make the choice knowing you are infinite, the choice is going to be very different. For instance, if you know you have everything, when someone, for instance, is poor, when they do not feel as though they have enough money, they will buy and shop very differently. When someone knows they have more than enough money and they have the ability to get more than enough money, that they could spend all day, all night and still not have used up their resources, they will buy it in a very different reasons, in a very different way. And sometimes it's for the better and sometimes it's not for the better. So that is the key with you knowing you are infinite, that knowing that, is it important that you look perfect, that everything feels perfect? Because maybe it's a reminder to you that, yes, I'm going to show people that I can still feel this way and still wear glasses or still need this or still have a walk with a brace or be in a wheelchair, whatever the case may be. You can still be infinite and still have these things going on. Or again, you can be someone who shows, hey, there is no limit to your capacity. If a starfish or a lizard can do this, you can do that more. I mean, so it really depends. That is where the growing is. That is where, when you really, again, click into, and really it is just as much of a fact as any other fact you think you know, your scientific laws that you have, when you know them as well as you know your scientific laws, or whatever things that adhere, whatever things that click in your mind for you, the rules of something, whatever your career is, whatever you do, there, everyone has some laws or some beliefs. Or if you know it as well as you know your Pledge of Allegiance or your Lord's Prayer, or what, a creed or a mantra or whatever it may be, when you know that with everything you are, it will be very interesting to see what you choose. To, like we said, you may be, when you don't understand that you are infinite, your choices for what you physically can manifest with your earth suit might be very different than when you do indeed really know and really embody your infinite with your divinity, your sourceness. When you embody that, you might feel different. So, as we end our time today, these activations, these codes, these downloads, this healing will keep flowing for as long as need, that your suit has need of. And this will help reinforce Metatrons and the Galactic Federation's uh, activations and healings. And we love you. We are here for you. We are Archangel Raphael.